Hello everyone, my name is Marina Lantos and I am one of the core team members for East Coast Land Services. Today's class is going to be fundamentals of blow drying. We will be going over several different brushes, how to use them, and how to achieve a different end result by using those brushes. All right, let's get started. Before I start blow drying midshaft and ends, I first remove moisture from the scalp. This helps me not to create any dents or separation between the sectioning. I either use my vest brush or my fingers to do so. While I do it, I point the nozzle of the blow dryer closer to the scalp and only blow dry the first couple of inches of the hair, keeping my elevation low around the hairline and higher up as I go up the head. First brush I'll be demonstrating is our natural bristle round brush. Natural bristle brush gives the most amount of tension and is ideal for someone who has either frizz or curl and likes to see their hair polished and shiny. What I usually do is I start taking the moisture out from the scalp by using a clipping motion with my fingers. Once the scalp is dry and the first couple of inches of the strand is dry, I move on to midshaft and ends. In this sectioning, I'm showing my surface drying. Surface drying meaning I'm holding the hair on top of the brush and letting the hair graze over the top of the bristle. This will give me a polished, smooth result with just a natural bend on the bottom. Now in the next section, I'm showing the same motion at the scalp. So I'm taking the moisture out, polishing. The curlier the hair and the more frizz it has, the more tension you want to put on those ends or on that hair. Now instead of doing surface drying, now I'm rolling the ends into the brush and I'm going back and forth in rolling motion. So the blow dryer is following the brush, and as I'm getting closer to the ends, I keep the ends inside of the brush instead of on top of the bristles. The end result is going to be much more bouncier, much fuller, but still shiny and polished. Look at the difference between the first and the second section. The next brush is going to be our metal round brush. Metal round brush usually does not have much of tension because the bristles are much more spread out. But since they're made out of metal, they heat up and act like a roller, which means the end result is still going to be polished, but it's going to be a little bit more bouncier. This brush is ideal for someone who does not have as curly or as frizzy hair texture, someone with waves, and someone who likes to wear their hair a little bit fuller and a little bit bouncier. In this section, I'm going to demonstrate using the same brush, but instead of keeping the brush sliding through the hair section, I'm going to keep the brush in the center of the section, so right in my mid shaft. And that's going to give me much more of a bouncier end result. Look at the difference on how full and how bouncy her hair looks. The next brush is going to be our styling brush. This is a hybrid between the vest brush and a natural bristle brush. It's flat, which means it's going to give us a flatter end result. And because it has natural bristles in it, it's going to polish and smooth the hair, maximum tension. How we like to use this brush is starting by taking the moisture out with your fingers first by creating lots of tension, then placing the brush in, lifting it just a little bit off of the skin by creating a little bit of elevation, and as farther you go down the section, closer to the ends, you're going to drop the elevation down to make sure that you're polishing those ends. So here's another view of the same application. Take the moisture out first, lots of tension between your fingers, Place the brush flat, lift just a little tiny bit. Pay attention to the nozzle or where it's pointing. So it's pointing to close the cuticle. And then drop the elevation down, lower and lower. So at this point, you'll be working right against the back of the client's head. Nice and flat. The next technique I'd like to show is how to use twisting motion using my smaller metal brush. Take some of the moisture out. You always want to make sure that you only have about 20% moisture left in the hair. Otherwise, you won't be changing the bonds in the hair. So take some of the moisture out, nozzle following the brush, remove the blow dryer, twist the brush, place the heat, and then continue until you see the ends right on the edge of the brush. Let's see this one again. We're going to take a section, place the brush right at the scalp, right after we take some of the moisture out. Pay attention to where the nozzle is pointing. Nozzle is hovering over the ends of the bristle. Lift, remove the blow dryer, twist, lift up because I'm working higher on the head, twist again, and then polish those ends. So now you want to make sure that you're letting the section cool fully before you run your fingers through it. Gives this really cute curl effect. And then once we break it up with our fingers, you'll have a very soft, natural beach wave. And the last brush that we're going to go over today is a vest brush. Vest brush is an ideal brush for anyone who has a bob haircut or a pixie. What I'm demonstrating now is a wrapping technique. Wrapping technique essentially wraps the hair around the head shape. It gives a little bit of movement right at the scalp. The next technique I'm going to show you is going to be leafing and rolling. Comb the hair in the direction where you want your section to be. Use the comb or a brush and your fingers to separate. And now the leafing technique works mid-shafts and ends. We're going to lift a little bit higher and then drop the elevation similar to how we were working using our styling brush. So leafing technique smooths hair down while giving a natural end result and natural bevel on the ends. Whenever you're rolling the brush, that technique is called rolling. Rolling concentrates on just the ends. So again, here's the demonstration on how I section. Clip hair out of the way. Place the brush. Nozzle of the blow dryer is parallel to the brush and always following the same elevation and over direction. Start off a little bit higher and then drop down your elevation until you start rolling the ends to polish them. I hope you enjoyed this blow dry tutorial, and please check out our YouTube channel for more virtual tutorials on cutting, color, and styling.